Pedestrians in the rear of the library so it wouldn't distract people in the library. And to solve this, I came up with the idea of using a perforated screen. It's a metal screen, like a 16-gauge steel screen that has small holes in it. And the beauty of this material is that it allows you to see through it, almost like it's transparent, while at the same time providing enough surface area to actually paint images on. And an interesting thing about the process of painting this was there was almost like a holographic effect when I go to put the brush on the screen. That it created this illusionary three-dimensional effect where I couldn't quite figure out where the brush was in space. But of course, after a while, you get used to that. And so normally I paint, I build sculpture and I paint, and often my work is an abstraction of things in nature. But in this case, I thought it would be good to be very representational of his subjects. So I chose, there's 9 images here. First of all, the screen was to symbolize a scroll, like an ancient scroll. The library, of course, being a repository of knowledge, and in ancient times a scroll was used. And so I wanted to create this long, very long horizontal structure, so a scroll was good for that. And so I did this kind of a pseudo, calligraphic markings on the blank screens in between the images. So the subjects were things such as the white-faced ibis, the piece on the left, upper left, which is a migrating bird that comes and visits us in summertime in the Yolo Basin. The butterfly is called a purple copper, and it happens to be a butterfly that's studied by a well-known scientist here at UC Davis, Dr. Shapiro. He studies some of the butterfly populations and the effects of global warming on those populations. The next piece is a pomo basket, specifically from this area. I talked to a curator at the Indian Museum of Sacramento about supplying these kind of references. And of course, the next image is reflective of DNA studies going on at UC Davis. And then the valley oak leaf, which typifies our area, and the rice, of course, the rice growing. And the next is also a pomo basket by a very well-known weaver, Mabel McKay. And I think a lot of people really like the idea of showing off her work here. And so I was glad to get the input. That kind of symbolized the input I got from the community. There was quite a bit of input, and it helped me make decisions on what to research and get in touch with people. This whole process gets really involved, and it becomes a little journey, each public art piece. And the next thing is the Sacramento split tail, like a little minnow type of fish, indigenous to the waters in the delta here. And then the Celophorus hummer, which is a local hummingbird. And so that's part of the procedure that goes into this piece. And I've been very fortunate to be involved with all three remodelings and new structures of Yolo County, including I did a sculpture for the West Sacramento Library. It's a 9-foot tall structure. And then the piece you saw earlier of the wall panels in the Winters Library, which stretches about 22 feet long. So I'm very proud to be part of this whole library business that we've all been undergoing for the last year and a half. Any questions? Yes. There are metal posts. Oh, that's the kind of pseudo-calligraphic markings I put on there to kind of what you might see on an ancient manuscript without being able to read it. Yeah, but it provides a good backdrop so you can intensify the illustrations in between.
What's interesting is looking at it during the day and then looking at it at night without having the light.
It is interesting. You know, it's kind of an interesting exercise in how you want to adjust your brain, you know, when you perceive it, because you can ignore the image and see right through it. And then you see the trees and the building and everything behind it. Or you can totally focus on the image and then you totally block out everything behind it. So it's a very curious effect. By the way, I had to spend a lot of time researching different screens to get that, just the right percentage of screening, you know, because it comes in, you know, dozens and dozens of different hole sizes and different amount of metal in between the holes, you know, and we brought samples here and tried them out. And it was kind of a guessing game during the whole process. A lot of these public projects, you never know for sure until you actually do them, what you're going to get. Yes? I got it, you know, from a metal supplier in Sacramento, but you know, these kind of screens, they have a few that are popular and people buy them a lot, but most of the time you have to order them in advance and they stamp them out, you know, per order. It's not a commonly used material, at least at certain hole size dimensions. Thank you.